Uh, Sorry for no warning to about this live stream, but I figured since there was no Cab Crew Wednesday this week, I figured I would jump on for a little bit, run some trains. Yeah, it's way late, but um, yeah, just kind of bored. Figured I'd pass a little bit of time before I head off to bed. Uh, so yeah, we'll just do a little train running tonight. So won't be terribly long stream. I'm gonna try not to go over an hour, but we'll see how things goes. 'Cause I do need to get to bed in case I get called again because it's been like really crazy on the railroad. So I think what I'm going to do, I would really like to change some of this power out on this layout. Let me see what I want to do here. I see we got one person watching. Hey, Zaruto, welcome. Yeah, I'm kind of starting kind of late tonight because I just got home from work a little bit ago. And I was kind of scoping around, watching some of the other streams. Saw he stream on the way, or I say saw it more appropriately, listened to it on the way home. So for the most part, I just basically just chatted a little bit here and there while I was stopped at different places. But other than that, not much else going on. So I figured I would jump on my set for about an hour or so, and we'll run some trains. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go in the back room and I'm going to have to grab an engine because I don't have anything to run on this DCC loop, which is this loop right here. This is DCC. The loop on the inside is DC. So I need to turn this train. I need to turn this train on anyway because I want to see what my situation looks like here because I have been having these things run into cobwebs. Yeah, there's some right there, but that's not harming anything. I think as long as there's nothing hanging down, because where this layout's situated, things like spiders and stuff get in here and they build webs all over the layout. So it kind of makes it a bit of a pain. And so far, the train has hit nothing. Don't see anything. So I think we're all good there. So I'm going to run grab an engine for this outside loop. I went to Human City Street. Yeah, I did too. I was kind of hanging out in the background, just kind of lurking. So like I said, for the most part, I did kind of say hi and said some stuff. By the way, that reminds me, I did promise Heath I got a photo I got to share with him on Discord. So before I go to bed tonight, after this stream, I need to put that photo in his Discord where he can take a look at it when he gets a chance. Because it's a really cool photo. It's a picture I took at Thayer last night. Uh, that it was a track geometry train, and basically what it is, if you don't really know what it is, it's basically a locomotive and two cars. The rear car is a former passenger car that houses equipment and sensors, and it kind of looks at the track as it goes. It kind of looks at the track as it goes down the line and sees if any grinding needs to be done. I think someone said it checks the ballast too, the structural integrity of the ballast. It does a lot of neat stuff. But they send that little two-car train out every once in a while, kind of look things over. And like I said, I'll put a picture. Actually, a picture of it is on my community page, but I don't know if he's seen it yet, so I'm going to put it in his Discord where he can see it. Hey, D-Roll Daryl, welcome. Yeah, I figured since nobody was doing Cab Crew, I figured I'd jump on for a little bit. So I'm going to try because I do have to kind of get to bed because things have been like really insane on the railroad. They're doing some they're structuring their crews differently, and it's jacking things up. So yeah. I hope. By the way, I hope you guys had a good Fourth of July. I worked that day for a little bit, so I did get to see the fireworks across town there. So that was pretty cool. Um, while I sat in the van waiting for trains, um, and uh, things got a little interesting over the weekend. We'll talk a little more about that later on in the stream. But it ended up being a pretty wild weekend and a pretty nerve wracking weekend for some of the crews on the Thayer sub. So, um, yeah, like I said, we'll get into that a little bit later. I won't go into any of the really gory details, but uh, there were some hair raising moments there for a while. But I'll grab an engine for this outside loop and we'll fire this outside loop. So bear with me just a few seconds and I will be right back. So chat amongst yourselves. Okay. I think we got just the engine to put on here. This one hasn't made an appearance in a long time. I would really love to run both of these together in a consist, but I just ain't never really got around to doing it yet. So I'll plug this guy up right here. All right. Loco 3, enter. Keeps wanting to put my speed steps at 17 every time I turn it on. I don't understand why. All right. It has fired up. It is running. You will see the engine we have running here in just in a second. And then I'll kind of give you a little background in it, since we do have some new guys here that haven't seen it yet. But yeah, Daryl, I've just been kind of I figured since nobody was going live, I figured why not keep the streak going for Cab Crew Wednesday, and yeah, that's why I kind of put the sort of in there because it's a lot later than when it usually starts. So, um, okay, Daryl said, yeah, it was Artie's night, but he called plumber and he was going to do it, but lost power due to, oh man, oh that's right, yeah, um, yeah, you guys are dealing with or guys like plumber and them's dealing with what's left of Beryl, the hurricane. So yeah, it came up through here and we got a good rain out of the deal. Wind blew pretty good there for a while too, but far as I know, no severe weather. Hey, Waycross Train Spar, by the way, congrats on getting a job at Rail Crew down there in your area. So yeah, and by the way, just be safe on the roads. And first rule of driving for this company, and they probably told you this: do not foul the tracks. That is the first thing they tell you right off the bat. And yes, there is a story behind that, and it does involve the 4th of July weekend I was mentioning earlier. So we'll kind of get into that. But meantime, let's go ahead and fire the trains at it. Oh, cool, Zarto. 455 subscribers. Nice. And by the way, you are not a moderator, and I don't think I can make you a moderator here. No, I can't do that. So I'll have with that. So I'll have to wait. I'll have to wait until the stream's over, and then I'll have to go back in the chat replay and make you a moderator, Zarto. That way, in the future, when you come back in, you can promote your channel. So as everybody else, I don't know if Waycross is a moderator or not, but I will make him one. Well, obviously he's not. So Waycross and Zarto, I will have to make you guys moderators. I'm kind of glad StreamYard's put in there that you guys are moderators. Hey, Papa John Trains, welcome. So the engine that we're running tonight is coming into view right now. Yeah, not a problem, Zarto. So just kind of show you guys, this is what we're running tonight. This is an Athearn Genesis FP45. Now, you notice this thing is in the BNSF Heritage 2 scheme. That is actually a fantasy scheme that's on this locomotive. None of the FP45s ever got this scheme. This is from Athearn's Legendary Livery Series, where they put fantasy schemes on various models. Of course, I have an ES44 AC that's in BN colors, a Cascade green and black and white. And then I have these two FP45s, and I also have a Rio Grande SD70. All those are fantasy schemes. And they are just such neat engines. I'm kind of in the Facebook circles, I am kind of putting it in Athearn's ear to kind of do a Frisco SD70 Ace at some point. We don't have to jump on it right away, but just kind of teasing it out there for a future project. And there was a guy that does like fantasy schemes, photoshops, fallen flag schemes on modern engines. And I can't remember. I am really bad at remembering people unless I'm remembering groups or people on Facebook that don't go by their regular names. But anyway, this guy puts like fallen flag schemes on modern engines. And he did a Frisco SD78. So I'm telling you what, the orange and white scheme really looks good on those engines. It definitely looks like what a Frisco engine would look like in 2024. It's a really cool engine. So, Oh, hey, not a problem, Zaruto. I just kind of looked at your name, and for those that don't know me very well, I'm a huge anime fan. So when I saw your name, the first thing I immediately thought of was Naruto, only with a Z. So I figured your name would probably be pronounced, how should I say this, similar to how you pronounce Naruto, only it would be with a Z. So it would be Zaruto. So I'm glad I actually didn't butcher that. Um, so yeah. So Waycross says the manager told I could not drive the van come other job Monday through Friday, by 8:30 to 5 p.m. And he told Saturday and Sunday will be best drive and can't drive if I tried. Need to be rested up. Yeah, you can work a maximum of 15 hours, but then you have to go on rest after that. Normally, if I generally, unless things are like really busy, um, and they're really short on drivers. If I work like 3.5, 4 hours, I'll generally go on rest because then I can recoup my hours. And then if I get a long trip, I'm not running the risk of bumping up against that 15-hour maximum. So that's generally how I do that. Um, like I said, though, this past weekend's been really the past couple of weeks have been really insane. BNSF has been restructuring some of their crew lineups, and it's kind of throwing everything off kilter. And then they've had all kinds of issues with trains, um, and grade crossing accidents over the weekend, and it's just been a wild weekend. So, there you go. Yeah. Oh yeah. I've got a lot of the box sets, Naruto. So, and I have a lot of the Bleach box sets too. I'm still trying to hopefully at some point I'll still get a hold of the Thousand Year Blood Wars. Um, so I'm kind of holding out on that. So um, hopefully I can hopefully I can get a hold of that because from the trailers and everything it looks really good. So the animation is really something else. So okay, I'm kind of getting sidetracked. Sorry. Real quick about this engine. Uh, it's a Legendary Liveries FP45. It's an Athearn Genesis, very smooth runner, has a Tsunami 2 in it. Just a really nice sounding, it's really heavy engine too. Um, this thing feels like it could pull a lot of cars. But yeah, I've got two of these. I've got number 93, and I think the other one's 97. So yeah, really neat pair. All right, hey Daryl, not a problem. Thanks for stopping by and checking us out there, and I was glad I was able to keep the cab crew streak alive for you. So yeah, I appreciate you stopping by, Daryl, and have a great night. So okay, Zaruto says I have a lot of I have a lot of NASCAR diecast models. Hang on just a second, Zaruto. Got something I'm going to show you. So where's the good one? Oh, I know what I'll get. I'll get this guy right up here since. So this one I've had for a long time. My goodness, it needs to be cleaned up anyway. It's really nasty looking. So let me see if I can it's, so this one's kind of hung up in the on the front porch here, and like I said, it's not the most friendliest of places, but check that bad boy out. That is a 1/43rd scale model of Richard Petty's Plymouth Superbird. And I've had this sucker for a long time. We're talking way before I had a YouTube channel. In fact, we're going all the way back to when I was in school when I got this one. So, yeah, I probably had this thing a good 20, 25 years. So that is a really cool model because, yeah, it's probably 25 years old because it's the 50th anniversary of Petty Enterprises. They had a whole slew of die casts that they did back then. They had a 4-car set where they had uh, Kyle's car, Richard's car, uh, the late John Andretti's car when he drove the 43, and also the late Adam Petty's car, all in Petty blue, which was a really cool set they had. Uh, but yeah, this one here, this is one of my favorites right here. So, and I've got some other old die casts too. So remember when Hot Wheels used to have die casts? So there's the Hot Wheels car right there. It may be a little difficult to see. I don't know if I can shine a light on that or not. Yeah, there it is. So there's Kyle Petty's Hot Wheels car right there. Man, I miss the days when Hot Wheels and Racing Champions and all of them did did these really cool little cars here. I'll just kind of show you one more here. And if Anthony Dodge jumps in later on, he'll like this one if he catches a replay. So I'm going to kind of dust this guy off for you to see it. So this is a promotional NASCAR Nextel Cup die cast. Again, we're going back about 20 years. So that kind of tells you how old some of this stuff is. So that is a Dodge Intrepid, Dodge RT right there, and that is promoting when Nextel first became a title sponsor. So you see the 2004 right up there on top. You got a big Nextel sticker right here, and then you have the die cast sitting here. And this one's made by Racing Champions. So, and they made a lot of other die casts too. I think they made I want to say they made like 18-wheeler models and stuff like that. They didn't just make NASCAR stuff. They made a lot of different racing series stuff. So yeah, they had a lot of really cool stuff back in the 90s. We'll hang those guys back up there. So, all right, we're gonna go ahead and fire the train up. Let it run. So I'm sorry, I'm kind of all over the place. So, oh, Carl Larson, yeah, okay. Yeah. He also did the voice of his car self too, the King. And I always liked the end credits of that movie where Mater, who was voiced by Larry the Cable Guy, referred to uh, uh, Petty's car in that movie as Mr. the King. So I always thought that was pretty funny. Okay, so Waycross has a question here. Randall, if I drive out of town to pick up a crew, would I pick them up and take back with me or hotel a city? Okay, so Waycross, what you'll do, now I don't know how they do this where you're at, but if you have like your like here at there, they have us use our own phones, but I don't know how they do it where you're at. I don't know if they'll have phones in the van or what, but you'll have the Rail Crew Express app, and they'll give you an employee number. You'll type in your employee number, and it'll pull up two things. It'll pull up a trip or a shift. If you're on a trip, you'll obviously hit select trip, and then it'll give you a readout of where you pick the crew up at and drop the crew off at. So, and a lot of times too, they'll have the coordinates plugged into the app. So all you gotta do is hit navigate, and it'll take you right to where you need to go. So if you have trouble, and then if you have like a crew with you or something, you still have trouble finding out where to go, the crew will, and I say this, they do here, but most likely the crew will help you out if you have trouble finding where you need to go. Um, it's not a hard job to get the hang of. Once you kind of figure out where different parts of the line are, where's the hotels where the crews stay at, or it's pretty much just second nature. Second nature. Uh, it's not a hard job at all. I've always told people if a klutz like me can do it, anybody can do it. Um, I have full confidence you'll know exactly what to do there, Waycross. Like I said, the only things you got to do is the only thing you really got to worry about is when you're in the van, all you got to do is make sure the crews get there safe. You don't wreck the van. You don't foul the tracks. Follow all the safety rules of the railroad, um, and you should be fine. So the one thing though that's a little different between rail fans and rail crew, how rail crew is, and this may be different depending on where you work at, but here, um, to not foul the tracks, you need to be a minimum of 6 feet away from the tracks. Um, and that is because some of these trains have what they call high wide loads. So they're often pretty tall loads and they're often wide loads, sometimes wider than the car they're sitting in, and they can stick out 3 feet or so from the side of the car, a couple feet from the side of the car. So they like for you to be a minimum of 6 feet away from the tracks. That way, there's no issues. Now, obviously, there's probably going to be areas where that that minimum is going to kind of come into question. I know on the third sub, there's a place called Bono, not Bono, Bay, Arkansas, and the little access road that goes up there. You do not have a lot of room to maneuver a van. You have to be extremely careful because you're right next to the tracks. Um, in that situation, it's not an ideal place where you'd want to drop crews off at, but it is what it is. But, yeah, like I said, for the most part, just follow the safety rules of the railroad. Don't crash the van. Don't foul the tracks. If you need help, the crew should be able to help you out if you need to, or like I said, that if you hit navigate, it'll guide you right to where you need to go. For the most part, sometimes it'll mess up and throw you off a little bit, but by and large, most of the time, it takes you right to where you need to go. So, okay, Zaruto says, I love Chevy. Dale Earnhardt Jr. is in the first Cars movie. Yes, he is. Yep, he is in the first Cars movie. So, in fact, there was a lot of NASCAR drivers that were in that movie. I'm trying to think. Somebody said, I'm trying to think who was in there. Dale Jr. was in there. Richard Petty was in there. Jeff Gordon was in there, I think. I can't remember if Jimmy Johnson was in there or not. Seemed like I remember reading somewhere he was, but I can't remember what he was in that movie. But there was a few guys in there. Talladega Nights and Cars. I've never seen Talladega Nights before, but I've seen clips of it, so I know what you're talking about. So, yeah. So, and by the way, Waycross, I know I make a big deal about not fouling the tracks, but this is going to kind of lead into this story from this past weekend that I found out about. So, an engineer I know, and I won't name names or anything like that, but he was on a train going south towards Memphis, and he said that he come into North Bono, and there was and the way I originally heard this story um, was it kind of played out different than what it actually was. But anyway, I'll kind of get to that. And he said there was a Rail Crew Express van sitting there at the first crossing there at Bono. And he said when he got up to it, said that van driver just pulled right up onto the tracks right in front of him, and he had to plug the train and put it in an emergency. He said he was able to get the train stopped before he hit that van, but he said he didn't know how. He said he was all over the top of him when he stopped. But he texted my supervisor because he didn't know if it was a Theravan or what it was. But he knew my supervisor worked pretty good. He didn't want to. He just wanted to kind of give him a heads up what was going on. Well, later on, I guess he got off the train and looked, and he said it was actually a van that come out of Memphis, Tennessee, so it wasn't one of our vans. And the thing was that driver was there to pick up another crew who was on another train. There was actually a northbound that was sitting there in the siding that was tied down, and the crew was getting off to get in the van. They weren't in the van, thankfully, but yeah, that was a pretty hair raising moment. Uh, and just to kind of top that off, my supervisor the next day, I think it was the next day, uh, he he said he went to the depot, and the train master was there, and uh, he he called him over. He said that train master said, "Come here, I want to show you this." And my supervisor saw the whole video, and he he asked him, said, "Well, what do you think Rail Crew's going to do about this?" And he said, "I figure that he'll probably get fired. Uh, it all depends on what they." He said it will all depend on what they do down there at Memphis. But he said, "I figure he's probably not working there anymore." And the train master told him, said, "Well, he's got 24 hours." Or Rail Crew, I think he said something. They had 24 hours to do something, or he was going to be banned from BNSF property. So, yeah, just throwing that out there to anybody that gets hired on at Rail Crew. Do not foul the tracks. Um, so that is a definite no-no. I know I've been harping on that most of this stream, but they, for good reason, they take that seriously. So, okay, Waycross trains fire said manager told there was one fired for driving around the crossing gates. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Driving around the crossing gates, running out in front of a train, fouling the tracks. Yeah, they'll get you fired right off the get-go. Um, but this crossing that I was talking about, if it's the one I'm thinking of, and there's only two, I think there's only two crossings there at Bono. Um, that particular crossing is not protected by gates or anything. It's just got a couple of crossbucks. It's essentially it's a driveway. It's not even a road. It's because there's a house that sits right on the other side of the tracks. Um, and uh, it's basically a private crossing. So yeah, there were no gates or anything, but yeah, that could have been absolutely disastrous. And then there was another train at Many Islands, which isn't too far from Thayer. Uh, there was a car that pulled up onto the tracks. Now I don't know the whole story to this because the way I understood it, the driver may or may not have been drunk, and they said he got out of the car and walked off, and then a train come along and smacked the car and totaled it out. Um, so yeah, um, yeah, and then there was other stuff that happened all over on the Thayer sub. We had trains with getting knuckles on the hill and everything. It was just an absolute wild weekend. So um, one of the wilder Fourth of July weekends I can remember. So and not in a good way. So, but anyway, just kind of playing it safe there. So yeah, and I've actually heard stories from crews of people that would actually step out in front of the train, commit suicide, let the train run over them. So that's very unfortunate. Uh, okay, Waycross says I was told I would be trained for 2 days. Full day is wrong to ask manager if be trained for 4 days. I mean, you can Waycross, but it's really up to the company. Um, we used to, it used to be, I think, like it used to be, I think, like 3 or 4 trips, but they cut it down to two. You can, like I say, you can talk to your manager. He might can let you train for an extra couple of days. I know sometimes it's there, they'll do that. Um, if somebody doesn't know where they're going. And then, like I said today, with this whole crew hours restructuring they're doing, they're basically just running trains till the crews go dead, and then they tie everything down, um, and then when all the crews come off rest, they start running everything again. So it really gets wild. We'll see what tomorrow brings. And Zaruto says there is a movie filming at Bridgeport Speedway, so I might be in it. Randall, oh, that's cool. Any idea on the title of the movie there, Zaruto? Okay, that's cool. You can choose from 7 a.m. to 3 or 9 to 5. Yeah, it's cool. A lot of times they're pretty flexible on their hours. What you can choose their way across. So yeah, you just do whatever fits you best, and go from there. So okay, it's called Pony Express. All right, well I'll have to look that up, Zarto. So all right, cool. And Stuart the Fish, welcome. Uh, welcome into the chat. So we do mostly train stuff in here. By the way, I didn't mention this. I am doing a NASCAR Heat 5 career mode series as well. Um, it is we are we're good we're well, I can't talk. We are following the exploits of Fredo Bangino the Fourth. If you don't get the character of this storyline slash game that we're doing in that series, this is a character, and I need to turn that bell off on that train. So, um, this is a character based off of Anthony Dodge's Matt Clark Railroad Marshal series. And in fact, I think what I'll do, I'll put a link to that series in there for some of you guys that haven't seen it yet. So bear with me just a second. I'm going to go ahead and put this, put a link to that series in there. So I think this is going to be it. I think this should be it. So I'm going to put that in there. So this link is going to be to Anthony Dodge's Matt Clark Railroad Marshal series. Now, the character Fredo Bangino appears in the final season of that show. So if you're not familiar with what Anthony Dodge does in that series and did in that series, since it's over now, he took photos of various people um, and kind of dressed them up and stuff, and put them in this kind of cartoon slash live comic series. Um, so the character of Fredo Mangino, if you actually look at the character, that's actually a photo of me in there that he is dressed up in there. So the joke is the show, as that final season went along, I was going to tell, I told Anthony that um, I was going to create a descendant of Fredo, hence the name. So it'd be like 4 generations of Bangino. So Fredo being the 4th, hence Fredo Bangino the 4th. And he was going to leave his family crime lineage, or whatever you want to call it, and become a professional NASCAR driver. So we've got him in the dirt. We've got him in the Dirt Tour series as well as the Camping World Truck series. So Zarto, if you're a Chevrolet fan, you're definitely gonna like what Fredo drives in the Truck series. You might not like what he drives in the Dirt Tour series if you look at the sponsor of his car in the Dirt Tour series. In season 2, season 1, he's not affiliated with any of that, but the season 2 edition, if you're a Chevrolet fan, you might not like his sponsor on that car. But in the Truck series, he drives a Chevrolet. So, um, so right now we're in season 2. It's started out a lot better in season 1. I'm not going to spoil anything since you haven't seen this, since more than likely you haven't seen the series yet. But yeah, we'll just kind of let you guys kind of watch that and let it play out. So, oh yeah, I think you'll enjoy that, Zarto. So it was just kind of a fun little side series. that I'm doing. I'm gonna try and film. Gosh, it'll be episode 20. So yeah, we're gonna be hitting the 20th episode total. This will be episode 4 of season 2. Um, so yeah, I'll try to film that episode tomorrow. Hopefully, if I'm not working, and we will see what Fredo does. Which will be the next race will be the Dirt Tour series. So we'll see what he does at then. So it should be a fun one. So yeah, you can follow the exploits of Fredo Benigno the fourth. Yeah, Kyle Larson raced a 410 sprint car. I'm telling you what, Zarto, the guy can race just about anything. Um, Went to Indy, ran up front there. Of course, we all know what happened there with the weather and whatnot, playing a factor, and it kind of screwing everything up. But yeah, yeah, he can pretty much jump in anything and wheel that car. And people wonder why Tony Stewart was angry when Ford wouldn't let him hire him. So okay, Whitecross says are flexible of choosing hours, and I asked him about a yard job, and he told me that those who worked in the yard have been trained and worked for. Yeah, so Whitecross, the yard now the main yard job, the main yard. Those are for seniority positions, people that have been there for quite a while. So, so yeah, the yard job is a seniority job. You would have to be there. You would have to be near the top of seniority to get a yard van job. So, um, right now with me, if anybody was to quit or retire, I would be next in line to get a yard van because I have the most seniority of the drivers there, of the non-yard van drivers. Um, so yeah, that's a senior job. Now, if you get called in as an assist van, the rules kind of are a little different. If there's no, but they generally they just call whoever's available. At least they do here at Fair. Now I don't know how they'll do it where you're at, but um, generally they'll just call whoever's available that they can get a hold of to do the extra yard van job. And the extra yard job, it's more or less a radius van job. Um, the the yard van, or at least how it is there, it's not supposed to go past the hotel or 3351 to the north on the north side. So they can go to the oh yeah, they can go to the hotel. Uh, I believe they said they might can go as far south as King as far as the Thayer van does. And then to the north, it can't go any further than maybe, I think it said 3351, but they may can go to Kosh if need be. But they're not supposed to go any further than that. Any further than that, they'll have to call a radius van or a long haul van. So, um, I mean, that's possible, Zarto. I don't really see Kyle Larson doing something like that. I'm not saying he won't never do it, but if I had to guess, if Kyle Larson would drive anything other than a NASCAR, it would most likely be IndyCar. Um, Maybe Fringe Formula One, but I can't really see him doing that. I can really only see him doing IndyCar as far as the top series, other than NASCAR. So, but who knows? I mean, I never thought I'd see Tony Stewart going drag racing. Um, so yeah, I mean, anything's possible. And just kind of going back to the stream itself here, another reason why I decided to do this stream now, this is probably going to be the only night where it's going to be cool enough to actually run the trains. And I'm not burning everything up because I'm telling you what, um, a couple of days ago, I would have never been able to come out here and do this. It was just so blistering hot. Um, it was just miserable. I'd step out the door and I'd just be instantly drenched in sweat. Um, it was just so muggy and so hot. And Jason, the train freak, I know he's about 3 hours to the south of me, and he says it's actually worse down his way. So I don't know how it's possible, but yeah, it gets pretty unbearable sometimes. So Zarto says my mom, Kyle Larson, has his own sprint car series. Or my man, Kyle. Sorry, not my mom. I can't read tonight, Zarto. My man, Kyle Larson, has his own sprint car series. Really? I did not know that. Okay, well that's something. That's something to think of. I actually did not know that. That's actually pretty cool. Okay, Waycross asked, would I do day trips picking up crews if I have morning schedule and driving much on interstate highways? Um, okay, so Waycross, here's the thing. 7 a.m. to 3 a.m. and 9 to 5, that's your hours that you got to choose from. Then, yeah, if they call trips out during that time, yeah, you'll have daytime trips um, for the most part. Now, I say that, and this is BNSF doing this, so I don't know what in it. I don't know if you're with NS or CSX where you're at, um, but the way a lot of these railroads like to do, they like to like if you're like if you're on a 7 a.m. to 3 p.m. or a 9 to 5, a lot of times what they'll do, and this is I'm speaking for here, because they do this sometimes. They like to call people either right before you go on duty or just as you're getting ready to go off duty. And that is just a weird way the railroads operate. Um, so if you're so let's say let's say if you're on the clock for like 9 to 5, um, it's possible the railroad will put a request for a trip in at, let's say 8 o'clock. Okay. It's possible they could call you right before you go on duty, but your pickup may not be to like, let's just throw a number out there, 9:05. Okay. On the flip side, like if you go off at 5 o'clock, and like I said, we're just saying if you're doing the 9 to 5 part, so they could very well wait till 4:59 and call you on a trip. I mean that's just how they do. Um, so yeah, they do a lot of very unusual, bizarre stuff at times. So, and it also a lot of that also hinges on what dispatcher is on duty at the time. Um, that also plays a role. If you have a good dispatcher that's on duty, you might have easier. easier time, maybe. Of course, again, of course, they have to listen to the chief dispatcher and all that, and that can get kind of messy. So, but yeah, they can, like I said, they can call you, like if you do a 9 to 5 or a 7 to 3, whichever you choose, they can call you at any point during that on call time. So, um, hopefully I didn't confuse you on that, but that's just kind of the best way I can explain it. So, Zarto, it's called High Limit. Okay, it's called High Limit. His brother-in-law is Brad Sweet. Oh wow, okay, owned it too, I think. Okay, all right, that's cool. Yeah, and Brad Sweet, that's another pretty high profile name in the dirt racing circles. Um, I know up here at West Plains, which is just about a 45-minute drive from where I'm sitting at. There's a speedway between here and Koshkonong called the West Plains Motor Speedway. Of course, it's not called that now. It's okay. Brad Sweet is the number 49 Napa. Okay, all right. But anyway, just fans what I was saying. There's a speedway that's halfway between Koshkonong and West Plains. It's called was called West Plains Motor Speedway. Um, it's called the Legit Speedway now. Um, that track in its heyday had a race called the Show Me 100, and of course that race is still going on. However, they moved it to Wheatland, Missouri at Lucas Oil Speedway. Um, but back in the day, excuse me, back in the day when they raced it at West Plains, it was even on TV back in the Speed Channel days. But man, they had all the legends, all the big time racers there in that race. Guys like Scott Bloomquist. Um, I think was it Larry Pearson? Is that the guy I'm thinking of? There was a Pearson that raced there, raced in that race, and I'm trying to think of some of the other guys. It's been too long ago. I've actually got the race on tape, so I may need to go back and watch it again. But there was a lot of big time racers that show up and race that one. That was a huge race back in the West Plains. It's even bigger now at Lucas Oil Speedway. But yeah, it was something else. So Wade Cross has another question. Would you talk to the train dispatcher or the yard master or the train crew? Okay, so Wade Cross, it could be either one of those three. The dispatcher could radio you. If you're in an area and a crew needs to be picked up, it's possible the dispatcher could holler at you and say, "Hey, can you stop by and pick this crew up on the way back?" or what have you. Or if you have a crew with you and there's a change of plans, they can radio you. Um, Normally, you don't talk to the yard master unless he calls you. Um, I know me personally, I've never talked to the yard master at either Memphis, excuse me, at either Memphis or Springfield. So, um, But yeah, it's very possible. Most likely you would talk to either the dispatcher or the crew on the radio. Now, if you have trouble, if you're within radio range of the train crew, you're having trouble finding somewhere, you could holler at the crew and say, "Hey, where you guys at?" Kind of have them give you a little bit of a direction where you're at. Then they can kind of guide you in. All right, hey Zaratos, appreciate you stopping by. Enjoy the chat, and I'll make sure to kind of check out that series. That's very interesting, that Kyle Larson racing series. So yeah, I really appreciate you stopping by. So okay, Zarato says I have to go to the horse farm. Okay, all right, well have fun there, and have a great night. Thanks for stopping by, Zarato. But yeah, Waycross. Yeah, most likely you'll talk to either the dispatcher or the train crew. More so the train crew than you would the dispatcher. Like I said, unless the dispatcher hollers at you. Yeah. Thanks a lot, Zarato, and we'll catch you next time. But yeah, most likely you'll talk to either the train crew or the dispatcher. But with the dispatcher, it's usually they will either call you over the radio and have you meet a crew somewhere or something to that effect, or they'll change the drop-off location or what have you. And then with the crews, yeah, you can talk to them on the radio if you have trouble finding them. Now, sometimes if and I do this sometimes, I actually have the phone number to the Thayer sub dispatcher. And if there's a situation where I'm having to pick up a crew and I can't get a hold of them on the radio, sometimes I will actually call the number and call the Thayer sub dispatcher directly, and I'll ask him or her, whoever's on duty. I'll ask him. I'm like, hey, where's the train at? I'm leaving such and such. I may be like leaving Thayer, going through one of the towns, and I'll kind of get a location, try to get a location where the train's at, so I'll know roughly how much time I've got. If they're not there yet. And then, of course, sometimes you'll call them and they'll say, yeah, the train's tied down, the crew's waiting. So I don't do it very often, but I usually do it if there's like like if they short call you, they'll let's say rail crew calls you at let's say rail crew calls you at let's say you're doing the 9 to 5 again, and rail crew calls you at 9:05. Okay, but the pickup is at 9. Let's say it's 9:30, but it takes you an hour to get there. So what I'll do is I will call the Thayer sub and like I said, if this is me, this is what I would do. But I will call the Thayer sub dispatcher and I'll say, hey, I'm leaving Thayer now. Can you give me a rough guesstimation of where the train's at? And they'll say, yeah, the train is either going. Let's say I'm picking a crew up at Williford, which is about 30 miles from Thayer. And they'll say, yeah, the train's going through Hogan right now, which is, for those that don't know the sightings on the Thayer sub, Hogan is actually Black Rock, Arkansas. So I'll know then that the train is roughly about, if they don't stop, they're about 20 minutes away from Willowford, 20 or 30 minutes away. So I don't know I have that much time to get to Willowford. And generally, I'll know when I get there, they're probably, if they're not there already, they're getting really close. Um, like I said, hopefully I'm trying to kind of explain this where it makes sense. I'm probably not doing a very good job at it, but that's kind of some of the stuff you would you would expect. But what best thing I could tell you to do is just get with your supervisor, have him kind of explain things to you. Um, because the way I'm speaking personally, driving out there in Missouri. I don't know anything about how Waycross does their trips, how they handle things. Um, I know Springfield does a lot different than there. Lincoln, Nebraska does things a lot different than either of those two places. And Amarillo, Texas does things a lot different. And I know that because I've been to those places as a bar ride driver. So, and by the way, that's another thing you can do too, Waycross. If you decide to do it, you can actually become a bar route driver to different locations. So let's say they're meeting somebody, and they call, let's say they call Waycross and they need a driver, and they'll say, hey, yeah, there's this guy that would be perfect for the job, and they'll call you up and say, hey, can you do a bar out job? They'll tell you what hotel to go to, where you're staying at, and then they'll go from there. They'll get the paperwork all set up for you, send the information to your app, and you go. Hotel room, and plus you get like I think it's $3 or $4 more paid an hour uh, for work. So it works out pretty good. So anyway, just kind of throw it back out to the model trains again. For those that don't know what's running on the inside loop, we got the Operation Lifesaver GP40 and the Fox Valley Models Santa Fe GP60 running on the inside loop of the little train here. And then, of course, we got the FP45 running on the outside loop. It's been kind of thin on the model train stuff, content. Hopefully, I can kind of start trickling out a little bit more stuff. I've got some more retro reviews in the works. Still waiting on some of the new stuff to show up. I think we're getting pretty close to when the Rapido C30-7, that the way that's looking, and this could again change. That could very well be the first locomotive that arrives, depending on if Rapido delays its release again. So, Scott Rails, welcome to the stream. Yeah, I'm finally live for a change. Yeah, I figured I didn't see anybody going live on for Daryl's Cab Crew Wednesday show, so I figured I'd at least try to keep the streak alive for that series. And that's why in the title it says Cab Crew Wednesday, sort of. It's kind of a late night train running stream, more or less, but I guess we can call it Cab Crew Wednesday. So, and I don't know if I said hi to Papa John Trains, but hey, John. So, I would have done Cab Crew at its regularly scheduled time. Unfortunately, I was technically still at work at that time. I had just gotten off work, so So we started kind of late tonight, so it's a little bit of an after dark stream. So if you don't know what we're running, Dave at Scott Rails, we got a Athearn Genesis FP45 on the outside loop. That locomotive is wearing a steam. This engine is part of Athearn's legendary livery series. So it is a fantasy scheme that's on this locomotive. It's dressed in BNSF's Heritage 2 scheme. None of those locomotives ever got that scheme in real life. They were all, there was only a couple that I think they were restored to the Superfleet scheme. Um, so that's about as far as they got as far as new paint on those engines. None of them ever got the official BNSF scheme, but this is kind of Athearn's take on what one would have looked like. And I got to tell you, it wears this scheme very well. I really like this on the FP45. It's a very Great Northern-ish style scheme. Yeah, I agree, Papa John. I love the fantasy schemes. I know it's a very controversial topic in the model railroad circles. I know, especially on Facebook. There's a lot of people really look down on this, look down on people that have them. But I actually really like them. I'm kind of a guy that kind of likes both. I kind of ride the line of both real and fantasy. I have a ton of prototype base models, mostly from BNSF. I got some of the BN stuff too. Uh, so I just love these fantasy schemes because it really gives you a look on what might have been. Um, had BNSF kept a couple of these engines around, used them for officer special trains, um, this very well could have been what they would have looked like, which in a weird way would have probably angered a lot of rail fans because these are the last Santa Fe passenger units. As such, they always wore red and silver. So if uh, I'm pretty sure if BNSF ever kept a couple of these and painted them a heritage too, I'm pretty positive there's probably some people that would probably riot if that happened. So uh, yeah, exactly. Yeah, do whatever you like. Um, and I've got some undecorated cars I got plans to do too. That might be some content for the future. Um, I know I've kind of talked to Anthony Dodge on this. Uh, um, when I was in Springfield, I picked up a locomotive, uh, which if you watch the OMRA video, the hour-long video I did there during their layout, at the end of that video, you'll see a locomotive I picked up there. That was a custom job. It's painted in a scheme um, and a railroad that's called the Dry Gulch and Western, I think is what it's called. Um, and the plan was to I have an undecorated Accurel kit. So the plan is to do that car as a Big Gulch and Eastern car, which again, for those that haven't seen the Matt Clark series, Anthony Dodge did uh, a while back. The town that the show is based in is called Big Gulch. So the car will have Big Gulch and Eastern on the sides of it. I haven't decided on a final color scheme yet. I would like to get me one of these little airbrush kits where I can kind of spray the cars a little bit more, not accurately, but where I can paint the cars better, where I'm not just taking a spray can, just going over the whole car, which I could do that. That'd be the cheap way to do it. But I don't know. I kind of like a air gun or a spray gun um, to do that with. Um, So I think I could do some really cool stuff with that. But anyway, I would like to get with Anthony and kind of come up with a paint scheme for that car. Kind of bounce some ideas off of him, see what he kind of get a feel what he thinks me and him would think it would look like. So that might be a fun little project there. Uh, that might be something to do when it turns off cooler and have a little fun there. So who knows? I may flip out completely and buy a Bob Ross wig and beard and do the whole Bob Ross bit while I'm painting the car. I know there's a short circulating around where the movie actor Jack Black did a Bob Ross parody, and if you haven't seen that one, it's pretty funny. So, but yeah, just back on this engine right here. This is just such a gorgeous engine. I love what Athearn did with this. They actually did an SD40F-2 or an SD40-2F, which is that they did in the Burlington Northern Executive Scheme that had the BNSF lettering on it, which was a really nice looking engine. I really wished I would have had the money to buy one of those. That was in the plans, and then I did stupid stuff and didn't do it. Um, so oh well, maybe Athearn will offer it again in the future. We'll see. Yeah, that was kind of one I missed out on because I was buying other things. So at that time. Which, knowing what I know now, there's probably rolling stock and stuff that I have that I probably wouldn't have. Um, Looking back, so I may even do a video on that, like I don't know, top 5 stupid buys video or something like that that I've done in the past. So that might be kind of a humorous video to do in the future. But yeah, anyway, I kind of like to get back into doing some more train content again. I know I've been doing a lot of, like I was telling Gerardo earlier, I've been doing the NASCAR Heat 5 career mode stuff quite a bit lately. I'm kind of not putting out as much train stuff as I have, but I did just put out a video where I got my C39-8 back, one of them back. I got the NS engine back. It had some electrical pickup issues, so it went back to scale trains to get some adjustments done on it. Brought it back, or they got it back, put it on the layout. So far, it hasn't hiccup once. Um, it's ran just beautifully. So what it was doing at the slower speeds, um, it would run fine at slower speeds, but the minute you went past like speed step 20, it would start cutting out, and the lights would flicker. It would just kind of have these little intermittent power losses. So I sent the engine back to Scale Trains. They did some adjustments on it, got it back. Like I said, the things ran great. Really excited about that engine. The Conrail engine, on the other hand, and I'm glad Sparky's not in here right now because my goodness, I think there's outside forces telling me not to own Conrail. Um, because I have had time with that engine. It also had electrical pickup issues, way worse than the NS engine had. So I sent it back to Scale Trains. They adjusted it. I got it back. I put the thing on the track, and immediately it blew the decoder. So unfortunately, it happens. I mean, I've been lucky with Scale Train stuff. That's really that engine is really the first one that's given me any sort of major trouble that I've got from them. And I think it's just one of those weird, fluky things that just happen. I know there's people that's had really bad luck with their stuff. But, I mean, that's going to happen with any manufacturer. I've heard stories of people having happened stuff that would uh, break all the time. So I really think it happens with every manufacturer. Somebody's going to run into something and they're going to have bad luck with it. That stuff just happens. It's not good when it happens, but you know it is what it is. Um, I know, like I said, I know it's not good. I mean, when you plunk down $250, $300 for an engine, and it breaks just like that, or something goes or smokes a decoder or something like that, and yeah, it can be frustrating. I mean, I totally get where people comes from, but um, I also think that's also a product of these engines being so detailed. You know, they have so many features with electronics and everything. I mean, you're asking for stuff to go wrong constantly. Um, I know there's a lot of people that say, well, models didn't break back in the day all the time, or they didn't blow decoders, they didn't have motors burning out and this and that. Well, yeah, that's true, but you also got to look at it this way. The engines back in those days didn't have the details and the features that these newer models had. Um, as as a famous NASCAR crew chief turned commentator always said, there are no free lunches. Of course, he was referring to stock cars, not model trains, but it does kind of fall into the same deal there. There are no free lunches. The more detail and the more features you pour into an engine, the more chances something's going to go wrong. There's just no way around it. So, and I'm not trying to deter people from buying high-end models. I'm just saying that stuff just happens. Um, but like I said, I've been pretty lucky. I mean, I haven't had many issues with any of the locomotives I've had. So I've been pretty happy with what I've got. So we are approaching about an hour and a half. I might hang out a little longer. I know people's kind of coming in and out. I really appreciate everybody for checking out the stream, chatting. And we're just kind of relaxing, enjoying some train running. So we might go a little while longer. I'm gonna run and get me some water because my throat's starting to get dry. So I'm gonna let the trains. You guys can sit back and watch the trains, chat amongst yourselves, and I will be right back. Okay, I had to wet my whistle there. Throat was getting a little dry. And another thing that's really cool about this FP45 that I didn't mention earlier, um, with this particular paint scheme, the BNSF scheme, Athearn did include a set of ditch lights for the mauler to install if they so desired. So that was a really nice touch. Uh, so if you wanted to, you can actually add ditch lights to this engine. Uh, should you decide to. They're pilot mounted ditch lights, which means they'll mount right under the front deck on that engine. But it's a really cool touch. Really like that a lot. That long phone here made it cool off a little bit. Okay, I think they got some speed. Oh, and by the way, that video upload with the NSC 39-8. I know somebody in a past stream asked me if I could run engines long hood forward. And I can't remember who it was asked me that, but if you happen to catch this replay, check that video out. You'll be really happy. We ran that engine the only way NS knew how to run it back in those days. We ran that sucker long hood forward. So I hope you guys. So I hope all you guys like seeing stuff run long hood forward. Enjoy that from here. I didn't take the foam protectors out of the handrail though, because mainly it was just a shakedown run just to make sure nothing weird was going to happen. Uh, and like I said, fortunately, thing ran great. I was really happy with it. So now Now we turn our attention to Conrail 6009 and wait for its return and see what happens. I might do some more streams later on in the month. There's a car I really want to get built. Um, it's a 5 unit. It's a Santa Fe 5 unit spine car. It's an old Walters kit, so I need to dig that thing out and build it. So there's a couple of boxcar kits too I need to build. So we might have some kit building cars, kit building streams again in the near future. So hey, Kyle Stevens, welcome. No, don't worry about it, Kyle. I appreciate you stopping by. Uh, we'll probably we'll probably have to close up shop here in a little bit anyway because I'll have to get to bed. I decided, come on. I know Daryl wasn't, or Cab Crew Wednesday wasn't doing anything tonight, so I figured, well, why not keep the streak alive? And I figured I kind of fill in and do some train runnings. So yeah, this is kind of a sort of Cab Crew Wednesday show thrown together at the last second. So uh, we'll just call it Cab Crew Wednesday After Dark. So yeah, I'm gonna try and start pumping out some more train related stuff here. We're still gonna keep doing the NASCAR Heat 5 career mode stuff, but I'm gonna kind of go back and start doing some train stuff again. I've got a DVD review that is sort of train related and also anime related that I gotta do. I know some people's been wanting to see the review on the Demon Slayer Mugen Train arc videos, so I need to actually need to rewatch that one again, and so I do a review that. And incidentally, the BM gondola is behind the FV45. That's a Scale Trains Kit Classics car. So I quite like those little gondolas a lot. They were real fun to put together. So Oh, okay. Kyle says, I finally found my Blu-ray player last week. Just been so busy with the layout, haven't had time to set it. That's cool, Kyle. Yeah, I actually had to end up getting me one when I went to Springfield because I was about to climb the walls. I didn't have anything to watch or anything like that, so I just got me a Blu-ray player and hooked it up to the TV in the hotel room and sat back and watched videos. Even though I wasn't getting called for any trips, at least I did have. If there was any positive out of that, at least it did give me time to watch movies that I hadn't had a chance to watch yet. So, but yeah, that having a Blu-ray player that kind of helped save my sanity while I was not being called out. Between that and the train set I brought with me, that kind of helped save my sanity a little bit. Yeah, I'll tell you what, Kyle. The last month has really picked up for us. I mean, it's still nowhere near what it was mid, early 2023 and stuff like that. But yeah, compared to January through May, it's been a lot better. Um, so I'm still trying to kind of watch my budget, trying to keep things budgeted, uh, where I'm not draining my bank account plumb dry. So there are things I would like to get, but I'm just, I guess you can say I'm just too nervous to pull the trigger on them just yet. So, like, it's funny. Just before you come in here, Kyle, I was talking with some of the other guys in the chat here. Um, I'm kind of thinking about throwing a video together called "My Top Five Stupidest Buys" or something like that. I thought that'd be kind of a funny little video to put together of some of my not so smart purchases I made in the past. Um, so yeah, well, I may do something like that. Of course, I got some retro reviews I got to get done, and like I said, I also got a few kits there. I might throw together. I might do some live streams building some kits. So, oh, absolutely, Kyle. Absolutely. Well, we're approaching an hour and 45 minutes. I'm going to see if I can take it to an even 2 hours. I like good round numbers. So we'll let things run for another 15 minutes, and I think we'll start closing up shop. So, by the way, if anybody that's a moderator, if you guys want to promote anything on your channel, feel free to put a link in any videos you got, uh, any new videos. Just feel free to drop a link in. While Kyle's in here, I'll tell you what, Kyle, those Athearn Genesis SD50s, those things look really nice. It makes me tempted to want to get one. Um, I know you said they're a little too new for you, but boy howdy, those looked awful tempting. But if I knew if I pulled the trigger on that, I would be really putting myself in a danger zone um, because there are rumblings going around that there may or may not be a certain locomotive that may get produced, and I don't want to put myself in the hole in case it becomes a reality. Yeah, that'd be a cool one, Kyle. That the gold chassis system engine, GM50. Yeah, that'd be a cool one to have. Yeah, good old Kenny Loggins. If only I had that on CD. Unfortunately, if I played that, that would probably get me copyright struck, and I don't think I want to do that. So, yeah, I have went to the danger zone many a times. Bear bear blow the horn a little bit. It hasn't been sounded much tonight. Papa John Trains. I got train shows at the end of the month. Low on cash. Yeah, it's a good thing there's no train shows near where I'm at, because I would be in trouble a lot. Oh, by the way, however, speaking of which, um, if you're in the Springfield, Missouri area on August 28th, um, but by who thought Kenny himself a rock star? Yeah, I was married once. Are you trying to tell us something, John? Did your wife kick you out because you bought too many trains? That's not nice. Hey, GWR Buckley Junction, welcome. But anyway, just kind of finish what I was saying. August 28th, um, if you're in the Springfield, Missouri area, because they have this posted on Facebook, and it's also on Scale Trains' website. They will Scale Trains will be in Springfield uh, with their road trip tour, visiting the OMRA. Um, and they will be, I think, after their deal, they're going to be visiting the layout, checking it out. Um, so yeah, if you guys are in the Springfield, Missouri area, you might want to swing by and check that out. I don't know if I'll be able to go there. It'd be cool meeting Shane Drayton in person, but um, we'll see. Maybe we'll run into him at some point. But, and also they have another show, the Model Train show up there in Springfield too, September 20th, 21st. It's a 2 day show now. So that's going to be really cool. That'd be one I'd like to kind of scope out. All right, Kyle. Really appreciate you stopping by. Yeah, we're in about 9 more minutes. We're probably going to close this up because I'm going to have to get to bed here pretty quick. Um, so yeah, I really appreciate you guys stopping by. And hello, GWR Buckley Junction. Welcome. We're just kind of kicking back, running some trains, kind of hanging out and chatting a little bit. This was kind of a last minute throw together thing. I noticed nobody did Cab Crew Wednesday tonight. I know Daryl was in here a little bit ago. He said Artie was supposed to do it, but because of some unfortunate things that have happened, Artie is not going to be able to do Cab Crew, and Plummer was going to sub for him, but he lost power because of the what's left of the hurricane that's going on. That's moving through his area. So I figured when I got home, I figured why not? Let's just keep the cab crew show streak going and do a little after dark train running. So that's why the title says Cab Crew Wednesday, sort of the after dark show. So anywho, so GWR, since you just made it in, the engines we have running tonight. Once again, we have our venerable Jeeps on the inside loop, the Operation Lifesaver anniversary GP40 in the lead and the Santa Fe GP60 trailing. The outside loop has an After Genesis Legendary Liveries FP45, dressed in the BNSF Heritage 2. Those are our engines for tonight. So eventually, I would kind of like to get to where I can run some different stuff. Kind of not run the same engines for the whole stream, where you just get it where I can kind of swap them out every once in a while. Run some different stuff for you guys, but I guess I'm just lazy tonight. And GWR, I see you're not a moderator, so you are another one I'll have to make a moderator when I go back into the chat replay. So, yeah. So I got about three or four guys I got to make moderators. So that's pretty good. I got some new guys coming in here. So, or new folks coming in. So we are approaching the 2 hour mark. We'll get about a little under 3 minutes to go. So like I said, we'll close it up when we hit 2 hours. All right. Hey, Papa John Train, thanks for stopping by. Really appreciate it. So yeah, we're here in a couple of minutes. We're going to kind of close it up here. We'll let the trains make a few more laps before we do that. So yeah, I really appreciate everybody coming in, checking out the stream tonight. I know it's kind of a last minute thing, but I figured since there was nobody able to do Camp Crew Wednesday, I figured I would kind of do a late night version of it. So I'm glad I was at least able to help Daryl keep the streak alive for that show. Uh, so yeah. Yeah, we'll start doing some more train stuff. I haven't been doing much on the reviews because I'm kind of waiting to see when the new stuff's going to come in. But I think I am going to start kind of throwing some more retro reviews out there. I know there's a couple other engines I would really like to get reviewed. Uh, for one, in particular, the ST70 Max that I have, I really want to get those guys reviewed. Um, so I've got two of those that's new in the box. They're actually old engines, but they're new in box. They're new old engines, if that makes any sense. So that's going to be a couple of retro. That's going to be a retro review right there. That's one I want to get into. GP35s, the Arizona and California engines. I want to get those reviewed. There's also some freight cars too that will get retro reviews as well. So yeah, you guys will start seeing some more train stuff trickling out there. So, but well, we're I guess on that note, we are approaching 2 hours. So I think we're going to go ahead and start closing up shop here. So we're going to bring this guy to a stop. So yeah, so there you go. So really appreciate everybody stopping by and checking out the stream. I know it's pretty late tonight, but go ahead and turn the sound off on that guy. But yeah, I know it's kind of late tonight, but we did manage to keep Daryl's show. We did manage to keep the Street for Daryl show alive. Um, so yeah, pretty cool night there. So like I said, I really appreciate everybody stopping by and checking it out. Hope you guys enjoyed the model train action on the layout tonight. We might do more of these streams here as the temps, well, especially since as the temps cool down. Also, the displays are coming up at the West Plains Model Railroad Club, the October display and the Christmas display. So we'll definitely have streams from there as well. So yeah, there's some good stuff coming down the pike. Of course, we'll have some cool reviews too. So yeah, hopefully we can start pumping out some more stuff. So, and of course, we got the ongoing NASCAR Heat 5 Career Mode series for you guys that have enjoyed watching that. Thanks to you guys for watching that as well. We got that series continuing, and I got to go film another episode pretty quick. So, I can get that put out there. So, other than that, I think that's going to do it for tonight. Really appreciate you guys stopping by and watching. And yeah, good Camp Crew Wednesday episode. Even it was just a last second thrown together kind of thing. But I don't know who's going to be going live next week. I didn't think to ask Daryl about that, but we'll kind of figure something out there. So other than that, I think that's going to do it. Hope you guys enjoyed it. And we will catch you on down the line. Thanks for checking out the show. And We'll see you next time. Have a great night, guys. Take care, and bye for now.